So, most people spend their entire life searching for trust outside of themselves. Trust in relationships, trust in the world, trust in certainty. But what if trust is not something you find? What if trust is something you remember? Hello, everyone. I'm Gabi.
And I'm Sarah, and we are the co-owners of Heal and Power Love. So there was a time when your nervous system knew how to feel safe, a time before fear, before disappointment, trauma, pressure, survival mode, conditioning that disconnected you from yourself. And this masterclass is about returning to that memory, not the memory of the actual mind, but the memory of your body, of your energy, and of your soul. And I remember after the pandemic and after I had my son, about like 2 years after that, I felt completely disconnected from myself. And, of course, other people and definitely trust as well. I remember standing in my kitchen, just chopping vegetables for dinner. And I had this really just weird wave of sensation kind of just wash over me. It was almost like my body was still present, like standing in the kitchen, but I wasn't fully there anymore. Like I was kind of floating outside of my body. And I think a lot of people have experienced that at some point in their life, that after years of just collective stress, uncertainty, constant pressure in the world, and then also I think all the instability and the changes around me and in my life got my system kind of stuck in a survival mode without me even realizing it. I became hyper aware of everything outside of me. So like other people's needs, the news, what could happen next, etc. But at the same time, I was completely just disconnected from what I needed. And this went on for a few years. I would try different things, after that like kitchen incident, I would try different things, but what changed things for me wasn't really another strategy per se or forcing myself to think positive. It was learning how to come back into my body and like anchoring myself physically back in my body and learning how to slow down enough to hear myself again, to kind of take up the space in my body and take up the space that my body takes up and learn how to feel safe in it and to trust myself and my body again. And it's still a kind of an ongoing process for me, but I've come a very long way. And so you can too. Okay, because stability does not begin when life becomes predictable. Stability begins when your inner world becomes just safe enough to hold uncertainty again.
Yeah, and when we talk about trust, most of us immediately think about trusting other people. But the deeper conversation is actually about our relationship with safety. Because when the nervous system no longer feels safe, trust becomes difficult. And so many of us today are living in survival mode without even realizing it. And maybe you have noticed that you are overthinking everything, trying to predict outcomes, feeling anxious when things are uncertain, struggling to relax, always preparing for the next problem, always feeling like you have to hold everything together. And this is not because you are weak. This is not because you are broken. It's often because your body learned that being alert was necessary for survival. And our nervous system is incredible, intelligent. It remembers experiences, pain, heartbreak, chaos. It remembers moments where trust was broken. And after enough difficult experiences, you unconsciously begin living from protection instead of connection.
Yeah. And the protection that we're talking about is self-protection, like of yourself. And you might be doing it subconsciously too, but it can look like trying to control everything, constantly needing certainty, people pleasing. That's a big one. Shutting down emotionally, staying just very hyper independent, overworking yourself, difficulty receiving support or asking for help, and always expecting something to go wrong. And while these patterns may have helped us survive at one point, they can also really just kind of disconnect us from feeling any form of peace. And we are just, exhausted, not because life is too hard. We're exhausted because our nervous system doesn't ever feel safe enough to rest. It's always turned on. Even in quiet moments, the body can still feel danger. Even when things are, okay, they are okay externally and seemingly, there can still be tension internally.
Yeah, that's so true. And we always cannot ignore the collective energy humanity has been moving through. The last years have brought enormous uncertainty, fear, division, loss, isolation, you name it, constant stimulation. And so what happens? You start searching outside yourself for stability. And there might be some beliefs like, once life calms down, then I will feel safe. Or once I have certainty, then I will trust. Once everything is under control, then I can relax. But external life will always change. There will always be uncertainty. And if our sense of safety depends on entirely on external conditions, we will constantly feel unstable.
And so here's also that tricky part that we think control often feels like safety, right? So we think, but many times control is actually fear trying to protect us from pain. That true trust is different. Trust is not pretending fear doesn't exist. Trust is essentially knowing that even when uncertainty happens, when fear plops up, you can stay connected to yourself and not by forcing yourself to just trust, not by, spirituality or by bypassing your emotions and not by ignoring your nervous system. Healing begins when the body slowly learns, I'm actually safe enough. I'm safe enough to breathe. I'm safe enough to be here. I no longer need to live in constant survival mode because, again, that stability does not begin outside of you, it begins within you.
Yeah, and we also want to offer you a different perspective on trust today. What if trust is not something you have to build from nothing, but something you slowly to start remember again? So, because underneath the fear, the conditioning, and the survival patterns, there's still a deeper part of you that remembers what safety feels like. When you go through painful experiences, you often disconnect yourself in order to survive. The body tightens, the nervous system becomes alert, the heart protects itself, and the mind starts to overthink. And slowly you stop listening to your intuition, your emotions, and your inner knowing because survival becomes louder than connection. And there is a natural intelligence within you, your body, a wisdom within your energy, a deeper knowing within your soul. And even if life caused you to forget parts of yourself for a while, those parts are not gone. This is why forcing trust rarely works. You cannot force the nervous system to feel safe through positive thinking alone. You cannot shame yourself into trust. You cannot pressure yourself into peace. And trust grows through safety. Think about that for a moment. Through presence, through reconnection. And I repeat it, trust grows through safety, through presence, through reconnection. And this is where embodiment, using your physical body, becomes so important. Because trust is not only mental, it is physical, energetic, emotional, spiritual.
Yeah, and the tough part is that you can literally say affirmations all day long, but if your body still feels unsafe or doesn't believe those affirmations, your system will continue responding from that protection part of you. It's not going to shift. And so the question becomes, how do we help the body remember safety again? Not that temporary safety based on kind of like circumstances, but that deep internal state of stability. Like we said, we begin by slowing down. by reconnecting with the body, by listening instead of just constantly pushing, by creating moments where the nervous system can start relaxing and allowing ourselves to also feel supported again. And little by little, that body that we are living in starts realizing I no longer have to fight all the time. And this is also why energy work can be so extremely powerful because the body stores experiences beyond words. And sometimes people intellectually understand something. We do, we understand it, but energetically, that energy aspect, we still end up carrying fear, grief, pressure, survival patterns. And those then, end up being stronger than our intellectual thoughts. And when we begin reconnecting with ourselves energetically and emotionally and physically, we create space for that deeper transformation. Also, before we continue, we just wanted to quickly mention if you're realizing just how much this topic actually resonates with you and you'd like ongoing support with this kind of work, we actually have a monthly membership centered around nervous system regulation, energy work, progressing your healing and your personal growth. And each month we focus on different topics and go deeper through, life teachings, practical tools, guided experiences, weekly support, and a community space. And this coming month, we'll be diving into the nervous system and the energetic patterns connected to it. So if this is something you want continued support with beyond today, we'd absolutely love to have you join us.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Sarah. All right. Let's get back to it. In many ways, healing is less about adding something new and more about removing the layers that disconnected you from your natural state. The fear, the conditioning, the constant pressure, the survival response. And underneath of all that, there is still you, a version of you that knows how to breathe deeply, a version of you that can feel grounded, a version of you that does not need to control everything in order to feel safe. And that version still exists. And trust does not mean life will always go exactly how you want. Trust means I can stay connected to myself even when life feels uncertain. Or trust means it can hold myself through difficult moments. Or I do not abandon myself when fear appears. This is true inner stability, the ability to remain connected to yourself in the middle of change. And the beautiful thing is, your body already knows how to do this. Your soul remembers. Sometimes it simply needs the space, the support, and the safety to reconnect with what was always there.
Yeah, and at this time, we want to take it a step further and actually do a transformational journey with you where we can kind of implement all of everything that we've talked about and get you kind of going on the whole process of regulating your nervous system and getting out of that fight and flight. So if you're able to find a place where you can comfortably sit down with your feet on the ground and close your eyes if that feels safe for you. Otherwise, you can have them open and just kind of gaze in front of you. And if you are driving, just stop at this point because we want you to be safe. All right, so go ahead and get comfortable. And then close your eyes and take a deep breath in and slowly exhale. Again, breathe in deeply and let it go. And just allow yourself to feel the surface underneath you, the chair, the floor, the earth holding you. Allow yourself to be present in just this moment. And no pressure, no fixing, nothing to force. And once you've really arrived in your system, let's turn our attention inward and begin to imagine yourself standing in just a beautiful open space. Just picture yourself, transport yourself there with your mind. It could be the ocean, it could be a forest, a field, the beach, the mountains. Let it be a place that feels peaceful and safe for you. Then just notice the light around you. Is it dark in the night? Is it during the day? What are the smells and the sounds around you? Can you feel a breeze brushing over your skin? What do you notice? Once you've really arrived in that space, just notice that path in front of you now. Go ahead and step on it and begin walking. And as you walk forward, in the distance, you see a person in front of you that's coming closer and walking towards you. At first, it's really far away and it's just this blob. Can't really tell what or who it is. But as you keep walking, you look closer and realize that the way the other person moves, looks, and feels is just somehow familiar to you. You lift your eyes in your mind and see the eyes, the hair, and you begin to see a younger version of yourself approaching you. You realize that it's you. And this older version of you that you are now, you might be noticing that this younger version that you've come across now is carrying a heavy pack on their shoulders. Maybe they're carrying fear or uncertainty. Maybe it's sadness, pressure, some form of survival skills. But as you look away from that heavy pack on your younger version's shoulders and back, look at the face of the younger you, and you notice that there's still innocence present, but also wisdom and truth. I'm going to give you a moment to just take a look. Just look at your younger self, observe what you see, and do so without judgment. Now take another step forward and embrace your younger self. You can say out loud, "You are safe with me now. You no longer have to carry everything alone. You no longer have to stay in survival mode. We can breathe again, together." And as you speak those words, notice what shifts. Are there any emotions that arise? Is there any softening, or maybe even nothing that happens? Just be present with yourself and your younger self. And just imagine pouring love into the space between you and around you. And at this time, if you need to, you can scooch a little bit forward on your chair and slowly just begin rocking your body. Yeah, do it physically. That's what I'm talking about. Rock yourself slowly side to side, kind of as if you're holding a baby and you're trying to soothe them. Just imagine a warm light beginning to surround both of you. A golden spiral that comes up from the earth, encompasses you like a tornado of light reaching up into the sky towards the sun. And this light, it represents trust. Not trust in the outside world, but trust in your own being, trust in your breath, Trust in your body, trust in your own wisdom, and trust in your ability to move through life. Just take a deep breath and notice the light moving into your chest, into your nervous system, your mind, your entire body, and continue rocking back and forth. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You only need this moment right now. And in this moment, you're here, you're breathing, you're alive, you're safe, and you are remembering. Let your body remember stability, and let your energy remember safety. Let your soul remember to trust. Just keep rocking slowly back and forth, sideways or forwards and backwards, whatever feels right. And then take another deep breath. And then just think and silently repeat, I do not need to force trust. I allow myself to remember it. I'm safe within myself. I can hold myself through uncertainty. Stability begins within me. And take one final deep breath in and slowly exhale. And at this time, slowly stop the rocking motion and settle back into your seat. And now go ahead, turning inward again, and take a look at your younger self. And just observe once again. Maybe the back on your back seems lighter. The face seems to maybe radiate more joy. Or there's a simple calm about them. Just notice the changes and know that you have integrated these changes within yourself. And when you're ready, just leave this imaginary, beautiful place behind you and slowly begin to return to the here and now. You can stomp your feet, brush out your arms from your shoulders down past your fingers on both sides a couple of times. And then open your eyes. And if you have it readily available, you can take a sip of water or tea, whatever you have. And now that you're back, feel free to share if you'd like to in the chat, or if you're watching the replay, leave a comment and let us know how it went for you.
Oh, for me, it went amazing. I feel so much calmer, so much more myself, integrated in myself. So thank you, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what you also can do, reflect on a few questions like, what did you notice? Or where you're still holding control? Or what would change if you trusted yourself more deeply? And we will put the questions underneath the video. And just remember, trust is not the absence of fear. Trust is the decision to stay connected to yourself even when fear appears. And the world may continue to feel uncertain sometimes. But when you reconnect with yourself, you stop depending entirely on external stability to feel safe. And that changes everything. That's also exactly why we created this membership. Realign your inner compass to help you build more internal safety, awareness, regulation, and connection with yourself, little by little, in a supported and grounded way. And we would love for you to join us. You can find out more information by going to www.healempoweryourlove, it's one word.com, and we will put the link underneath the video too, or dropping the word membership in the comments below. And we begin in June. See you there.
Thank you.